The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Chopping up Dolly Vision, streaming real. True crime scene, black feel so unreal. YouTube madness, like, share, subscribe. Chat's on fire, burning the world fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, there's the route down known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Pete. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shining, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light. Chopping up Dolly Vision, streaming real. True crime scene, black feel so unreal. YouTube madness, like, share, subscribe. Chat's on fire, burning the world fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, there's the route down known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Pete. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shining, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light.
What is up, YouTube? It is Dolly back in the house again tonight. And of course, I got the lovely PJ with me. And we're going to be discussing, okay, the Delphi murders and Maddie Soto. So if you're just tuning in, definitely leave your DNA all over that damn like button just in case Freddie or Jason comes and gets you. We'll save you, okay? We will save you. Well, PJ will. I'm scared, right? I'm a big old sissy, but I will send PJ to save you, but you got to leave your DNA all over that damn like button. And, of course, if you're brand new, make sure you sub up the channel. And do what, PJ?
Hit the like button.
They already said that. They got to ring the bell for notifications.
I never say that part.
I know. We changing it up.
We change it.
We're changing it up. Sometimes we tear up the script and we throw it away. Okay.
And that's going to explode later.
Don't be Dolly at home. Okay. Don't be Dolly at home. So happy Halloween, my beautiful people. I hope everyone had a great Halloween with their kids and their grandkids and all that good stuff tonight. I'm glad to see you're here. So many of you jumping in the chat room so quickly. And you see our super chat goal when you jump on the Dolly train or the
really
PJ
to get stabbed in the neck today.
Train tonight.
Don't do it.
At 20 super chats, PJ is going to do the chicken dance. Okay? She's going to hit the chicken dance for you. She's going to throw them up, right? Because all she does is win, win, win no matter what. Right, PJ?
No.
She said she can fill up her train car faster than I can fill up my train car. And I'm like, look,
I know I can.
The party's over here, right? We over here. Dolly always dances for you, right? Dolly always dances. But like I said, at 20 supers, PJ got to do the chicken break dance.
It's got a time limit, so don't do it.
Don't listen to her. Don't listen to PJ, whatever you do, okay? So, PJ, so the state has rested its case.
No.
Right there, Trisha.
No.
See, starting off strong. The PJ car is filling up already. Come aboard. Come on aboard.
I told y'all don't do it.
Don't listen to PJ. So anyway, the state has rested their case.
Yes.
So
It's
what?
been 12 days.
12 days in the Delphi murder case. The state has finally rested their case. Why don't you tell them a little bit about what went on in court today, PJ?
There was a lot of testimony today that I believe was a bit damaging towards the defense. Yesterday, the psychiatrist that was treating him at his cell testified, and it kind of combined to today where one of the officers testified, and basically they played his sissy. What did I tell you guys? They're going to make me do it. I literally sat down and just read it just now.
Didn't
so
you just
I
seen
was
it?
just, that's not cool.
I mean, you know, it's right there. Only cause we love PJ. The PJ car is filling up quick. They want to see you do the chicken dance, PJ.
That's because it looks silly when I do it. I only have rhythm when I drink.
Well,
You're going to have to find me a 40 or something.
I don't know about all that. So Nina
Dear
says
God.
dance to Thriller. Thriller would be a good one.
I'm not doing Thriller.
Hmm.
I could literally do this, but no, I'm not doing Thriller. Okay,
All right,
so
chicken dance for PJ. Chicken dance for PJ.
we
Go
heard that the defendant, Richard Allen, had confessed 61 times, and it was dull. Like, the testimony was dull when they originally said it. So it was kind of like, what did they do? And is this a nothing burger? Well, today was the last day. It's almost like they saved the best for last. They played several calls between Richard and his wife where he says in several different types of way, I did it, I killed them, I did it. It's hard to summarize it. I actually sent you in your messenger a bunch of news clips that updated today from the case.
Yes.
But basically, he told everybody he did it.
So,
several
I
times.
mean, so over, you know, the last week or so, we've been talking about this case. We've known he's confessed 61 times. He also, they wanted to play a video that got shot down today of him threatening a guard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Allegedly, he went a little bit psycho and was raging out a little bit and was threatening to kill a guard.
Yeah, but I mean, anybody that's been locked up has had a run-in with a guard.
Because you get frustrated.
Well, they
enough.
power trip. You know what I'm saying? Because usually these guards, the only power they got is when they're at the jail and they're ruling over you. On the street, usually they're a bunch of bitches. Okay, Dolly said it, right? You know, like, remember that one guy that was a guard that lost his kid? Remember that dude? There's a kid missing in Tennessee, and his dad was a prison guard. But, you know, they let that shit kind of go to their head, you know? And PJ team right there, the PJ team is strong tonight. The PJ team is strong. So these guards let stuff go to their head. And sometimes inmates get mad at the guards and they make threats. That's perfectly normal, especially if you've been isolated in a cell by yourself for, you know, weeks and weeks at a time to where you're almost went crazy. You know, my biggest thing about the whole Delphi thing is they say this guy's fake and crazy, but
I don't know.
He is eating his poo-poo, okay?
And smearing it on his face.
Smearing it on his face,
like rolling
on the
around
walls, drinking out the toilet. You can fake crazy all day, right? You can act crazy, but to actually be like doing things like that, you would have to be certifiably crazy, like crazy to the max crazy.
The chat is saying he wants to purposely look crazy.
Well, I heard Nancy say that he was starving himself so he didn't look like the bridge guy, which I think is absolutely untrue.
Miss
like,
PJ, I told you guys. Please.
Hey, Miss PJ, I'll do it with you. Look, and they got little chickens.
It doesn't
little
even count.
I knew PJ would have something to say when I typed that in. I was like, let me put something in here crazy for the super chat.
You've been mean to me all day today. It is
I
what
wasn't
it is.
mean.
Yes,
that is
were.
absolutely being nice. Okay, payback's a bitch. Okay,
yeah, go to sleep here soon.
I gotta go to sleep. Y'all hear that? All right, if Dolly turns up dead, it wasn't Freddy Krueger that got me. It wasn't Jason Voorhees. It was PJ. All right, I got witnesses. I got right now There's 380 people in the room. So I got 380 witnesses. Okay. If I die in my sleep tonight,
Where's everybody at tonight?
I don't know.
Oh, we're extra early.
Well, it is Halloween.
and it's Halloween.
And we're early tonight. We usually don't go live till almost 10. It is 8:30 because we didn't want to be here late with you guys tonight. So we're doing a little bit quicker stream, and we started a little bit early. Okay. Mm-hmm. But me and PJ's already ran out, took care of what we had to take care of.
My kid is grown. She thinks she's like an adult.
And we had dinner. So we've already eaten. So we're ready to rock and roll with you. Now, listen, I don't believe this. I believe that this man is crazy. Okay. I almost say I don't think he's crazy, right? I mean, I think he's 100% absolutely crazy. And that he would confess to anything at this point to get out of that cell. Now, I've heard people argue that, when you locked up that long, you can lose your mind. How long was you saying it was JLR was locked up?
He said 26 months.
26 months.
In solitary.
Which he got out 1 hour a day. Locked down 23 and 1, right? And, some people would say he's a little cuckoo sometimes, right? But I
don't think he was injected with the stuff that he got injected with. They injected Richard Allen with some stuff that could permanently damage him.
Well, I think JLR, he learned his lesson getting locked up. I think when he got out, he realized, hey, I don't never want to get locked up again. Let me straighten my act out and do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's what he's been doing. Some people, they get institutionalized when they get into prison that long. They get in there, they get used
Straighten up.
No, they don't. They never straighten up. They get out and then they get back in trouble and they end up going back to prison, out, in, like that. But some people, like I said, JLR, he looked like he got up in there and, being locked up by himself, but especially for white collar crime, because he wasn't a violent criminal. He was defrauding checks and stuff like that. And he got in there and he learned his lesson. Some people are not built for that lifestyle, and some people, believe it or not, it ain't that bad to them. Like, they're used to it. That's their life. That's the life that they know.
Because most people need structure, and it almost provides like a type of structure for some people.
To some people, yeah, definitely. It's just some people can't be out in society because they're crazy as shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe Richard Allen right now is one of these people. And if he's doing this stuff in jail, even if he didn't, let's say he didn't do it, and you let this man out of jail, now he's crazy.
Yeah.
Now he's crazy. Now he needs more mental help. I would say, hey, if he didn't do it, release him and put him in a medical facility until he can get his head right.
I mean, but if at this point, if he didn't do it and he just spent all that time being locked up with lights on 24/7 and being in confinement, that is horrific.
Well, if he's found innocent, I would turn around and I would sue the state for wrongly incarcerating me and putting me in prison instead of jail and torturing me, forcing me to take, they're forcing him to take medicines, injecting him with medicines and against his will. So some of these medicines they give you for mental problems can make you crazy, even more crazier than you actually are.
That's one of the things the psychiatrist testified that after he was given the injection, he had a symptom. He had bulging eyes. And I believe that's either a side effect of depression or from the medication. So it's like there's two extremes of what it possibly could be. But if he didn't have it before and he has it now,
and, all through YouTube, all through the YouTube streets, everybody is talking about, there being other people that possibly could be involved.
Yes.
Right. So it already brings in that reasonable doubt on the YouTube streets. Now, we don't know how that's going to play out in court, but everybody on YouTube seems to have a different opinion about what has happened in this case and who is responsible. Me and you together here, we have a difference in opinion on what happened in this case. You believe it could be the Holder guy or Richard Allen, and I look more like it's Keegan Kline and his dad.
No, I always said that I believed it was a group of them, and somehow Keegan Kline is connected, but it's all of them. Whether it's that Odinism app, there's some type of Odin game, and there's an actual organization there within that area that do all believe in this cult or religion or whatever they call it. I don't necessarily think that the difference between you and me is that I don't necessarily think he's innocent. I think that he had to have been there for whatever reason, and it's likely that he participated in it some sort of way, but I don't feel that he could have done it by himself. It's just
If they don't connect it, right? If they cannot connect Keegan to Richard Allen or to any of these other people, the whole
thing falls apart for me.
So it falls apart for you, and you would have to let him go.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's just not enough there to say, hey, he committed these crimes by himself.
With what they're saying and what they showed as proof of him supposedly doing this crime, I don't see it. And then they make it sound like, oh, he just slit their throats, left them there, threw some twigs on top of them like he was trying to cover him up or something. And did you see the same picture that I saw?
Yeah, Nancy seems to make it be Aunt Nancy. She seems to think that they were trying to hide the bodies because of this white van, right, was coming by, and it spooked him, so he didn't sexually assault the girls, but he originally planned to sexually assault the girls. If he had planned to sexually assault both girls,
how was he going to do that?
Why did he put the clothes onto the other girl from the one girl?
And when did he have time? And he allegedly dragged Libby, but there's no drag marks anywhere.
Yeah, and another thing is, how did the phone turn back on? You know?
People were discussing how the phone got underneath Abby, but I believe that the phone was in the sweatshirt.
Yeah, but at one point, the phone was off.
Right.
So if they're dead people don't
turn their phones back on?
They don't check their Facebook.
No.
Okay? I mean, they just don't do that. Or back then, you know, what would have been MySpace?
Snapchat. It was on Snapchat.
Oh, Snapchat, yeah. So it ain't like they woke up, turned into zombies, and it's like, let me turn my phone back on.
And that's another
somebody
conspiracy.
Was out there with them.
People were saying that that's the other conspiracy. I seen a lot of people discuss that part, and they think that it was purposely turned back on for them to be able to find the body.
Yeah, because the bodies were staged. And with the sticks holding the branch, and they wasn't sticks. Some people say sticks. These were big branches.
There were tree trunks.
Yeah, so it wasn't like little tiny twigs thrown on the damn bodies.
Plus, it wasn't covering. When you think cover, like my blanket covers me at night. It doesn't cover. There's literally like twigs and sticks and whole tree trunks.
Yeah, I don't think he ever tried to hide the bodies. I think whoever did this, they wanted the bodies found, and they wanted them found in that position in an odd manner. Like for whatever reason.
I need to, you know what? I'm going to go get some tarot cards because it literally looks like the magician is the one pose and the hangman is the other pose.
So you think they posed it off of a tarot? But
well, tarot cards are based out of paganism, I believe. It has some sort. I'm not very good at retelling what I know, but there's some history to it, to where it originated. Tarot cards, and it has some connection, I believe, to paganism or that type of religion in the past.
So, but it appears that any of these suspects that we named so far, we don't know if they have any ties to paganism.
They do, though. That's where Brad Holder and Jimmy Messer or Johnny Messer, Elvis Fields, they're all in Odinism.
And the Elvis is the one that was like, if they find some
saliva
spit
on the kid, is it going to pinpoint to me and can it be explained, or I can explain it, or something like that. He said something like, if there may happen to be spit on this girl, I might possibly have spit on her. Like,
but they didn't find any DNA. Will you do me a favor?
They did find male DNA actually that was unidentifiable.
Unidentifiable. And then
they said it was a law enforcement. Probably.
What, that happened to spit on?
They didn't say spit. They said unknown male DNA.
Okay. Yeah. Grab.
Yeah.
Lolo. She wants to be a part of the show tonight. Apparently, she's in there barking.
Rachel's gonna try to knock us over.
She's barking at the baby gate. We have a baby gate so they don't come back here into the studio. And Lolo's just not having that. She's standing at the gate barking like, y'all better come get my ass. Now, it seems like with, the modern advances in technology that we have now, if they had DNA, they would be able to find out who it is, right? But did the police do a good job in the beginning of this case? I think the police may have dropped the ball just a tiny bit in the very beginning of this. Definitely we're losing confessions and like Keegan, right? He confessed that he was Anthony Shots, that he had talked to the girls, and they had misplaced the whole transcript to that, right? Just like Richard Allen had originally went there and told them in the beginning that he was there early that day, but he didn't kill the girls and he wouldn't confess to a crime that he didn't commit. So to me, I think it's really bad investigation work, right? And there may be something either more strange involved in this. Okay. Now I don't really know if it like PJ is saying, I think she's going to grab her tarot cards, that it has something to do with like the hangman. And I don't know. That's just like, I don't know too many guys that are into like tarot. Usually when you see people doing tarot card readings, it's usually women and stuff like that. Like me, I don't know nothing about no tarot cards. All right. Most females like to, play with tarot cards, psychics, things like that. Smiley Stoney's World. Thank you for joining up. Thank you for becoming a member. DNA 204. Thank you guys. If you're just tuning in, what's up, Tony? Make sure you leave your DNA on that like button. And if you ain't subbed up yet, go ahead and sub the channel. So like I was saying, the state has rested their case. Did they present enough to convict Richard Allen? That is the $1 million question tonight. Okay, PJ has her tarot cards. They're small ones, all in your rock. Okay, what is this, a crystal?
Yes.
Okay, what do you do with the crystal? Do you rub it?
It sits on top of the cards. That's just how I keep them.
Oh, okay. All right, Lolo's coming over here with me. You coming to hang out with me, Lolo? You gonna say hi, tell them to like, comment, subscribe? Okay, she's just looking for a place to sit down. All right, so you trying to pull out the hangman?
And the magician.
Okay, and that's what they think they were posed like?
Mm-hmm. Watch. There's the hangman.
Okay, that is the hangman. Are they going to be able to see that?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's trying to be helpful, but
I guess this would be more like Abby. You're right. Libby did have her arm up like that. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it because of the green screen on. Okay, so maybe you're right a little bit that one of them was posed like this. You may be on to something there. And you say these are taken from paganism?
I believe it has a root origin in paganism, or in where they celebrated the earth. I believe it's called paganism, but I'm not certain.
Okay.
But if you look, what is this? Not now.
Okay.
Sorry. But if you look at the pictures, you could clearly see the positioning. It's just the outline of the positioning on the card.
I had a picture you sent me of what the bodies look
and
like.
I'll send you a picture. I bet you I could find you a picture of these two cards so you can show that.
Okay, give me a second. Let me pull this up. I remember you sent it to me yesterday, I believe. Didn't you send it to me? Oh, here it is. So this was the position of their bodies. Okay, let me share this. Let me share this screen with you guys real fast so y'all can see this. Share screen, entire screen. All right, share, add to screen. Bam. And you're right, it does have similar to what you just showed me in those tarot cards.
Here, I sent the magician a picture of the tarot card, the magician, and then the other one is the hanged man.
Okay, you sent me both those pictures?
Not yet.
Okay, that way I can pull them up on the screen and show you guys. But this is the position, like I said, that the bodies were in. So to say that they were trying to hide them with sticks is just absolutely crazy because...
Both of them are sent over.
All right, give me 1 second and I will pull those up. Hold on, I got to go back. All right, I'll pull them up now. All right, let me share this.
It's tiny, yeah. I wish there was a way to be able to. You know what? I'm about to do this.
Okay, that's the. You see how the arm is straight up in the air, and then this one has the legs crossed. This is the hangman.
Play some of the Nancy video, and I'm gonna put them all together on a.
Did you send me the Nancy video?
I did. It was right above the Vinny video.
Okay, give me 1 second and I'll get this pulled up. Just show me which one to play.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. It's just loading slow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's the Vinny video.
It's above that one. That top one right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance and I saved hundreds. With all the money I saved, thought I'd buy still.
Give me 1 second. Let me skip this commercial.
No, that's not it.
How's everybody doing? Good afternoon.
Sorry. That.
I have just come out.
I love how.
Here at
Can we
Delphi,
see this part?
and I've got to tell you,
Yes, that
it's
was the
nothing
first
like
part.
you would ever imagine.
Richard
Allen comes in the room, assesses the entire situation.
Guy.
All right.
In fact, I
don't
thought I was
think
going
he
to jump
even
out of my
plays
seat
it, but I
with all the
think this
lead up,
might
but
be
now I understand why.
Because this came
How
out
was he
today.
acting? What was his
Oh, this
demeanor?
came
What
out
else was he
today.
saying?
All right.
And I want to reiterate this. After this guy would give a confession to murdering Abby and Libby, claiming he wanted to them, but he saw some guy and he backed off, that's why he took them down there. After he would tell the psychologist this while he was incarcerated, he would then go, look, I'm not getting enough water. I want my property back. I want a tablet. I want to talk to my wife. I want to change jails. He knew exactly what he was saying. Those confessions were just like, hey, can I have that bottle of water, please? Can you hand me that, Susan Hendricks? He is just as sane as everybody sitting up in Congress right now. Susan Hendricks, can we go?
But Aunt Nancy, everybody in Congress don't eat their poop and drink urine. Okay, not a sane person don't do that. Even though you're crazy, you can some crazy people can hold a normal conversation and then they lose their shit, you know. And Nancy, you're as fruity as a fruitcake. I don't think she's crazy. I believe Nancy's passionate and she leans towards he's guilty. You know, in her opinion, she believes that Richard Allen is trying to lose all this weight and acting like this to try to get out of being convicted of the Delphi murders. Now, there's a lot of people, there's people in here that believe Richard Allen is guilty.
Yes.
So Nancy, it don't make her crazy to believe it. It just makes her opinion a little bit different than mine. You know?
Straight to the first confession she outlined in court. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at the jury, Susan Hendricks, and I can already see alliances. And I can venture to guess who's going to vote which way, but I don't know enough yet. Susan, let's talk about the confession.
I don't know how good this is going to look. I just kind of mixed it all together.
Hit me.
Yeah, I mean, it was riveting inside, and we've been dying to hear from Richard Allen himself, and he is manipulative. And he would just say nonchalantly, I killed Abby and Libby, but I'm a coward. I won't kill myself. And it went on and on and on. But you're right. We talked about following them on the bridge, leading them down the hill. In his own words, I looked over at Abby and Libby's families and tears. It was a long time coming that they finally heard from him.
Well, what was so amazing to me, Susan Hendricks, is how he could shift gears. He was completely nonplussed. He would say, I killed Abby and Libby. You know, my wife doesn't believe me. At one juncture, hey, let's go straight out to Cheryl McCollum joining us, who has been on the case from the very beginning. Founder, director of the Cold Case Research Institute, and forensic expert, Cheryl. I just wish you had seen this in court today. One thing, the prosecutor knew.
Jack Wolf says, woo, eat poop and drink urine. What did I walk in on? I'm on the train at the bar. I'm the bartender. Drinks on me. Okay. 20 super chats. PJ does the chicken dance. Well, we had to get you some chicken dance music. I'll have to find some.
This psychologist records better than she did. She was having to flip through pages throughout. The prosecutor would have to direct her to a certain document and a certain paragraph in the document to get her to understand what the question was.
We started
that can work both ways, Cheryl. Number one, she can look unprepared, but number two, she clearly does not have a dog in the fight. She's not trying to convict this guy.
Okay,
she
hold on.
The
Let me see
at
if
the
I
tip
can
of her
pull it
tongue,
up.
right? So it was amazing to me, Cheryl McCollum, that Alan would be saying, I killed Abby and Libby. I wanted to them, but this goes back to what you were telling me the other day, but I was interrupted. I thought I saw a guy, so I backed off. Then within a matter of minutes, he'll start saying, I'm worried I'm not going to get enough water behind bars. I want to change facilities. I want to be closer to my family. I mean, he's clearly totally sane, Cheryl.
Nancy, they had 9
I can
correction
see
officers
it.
testify when I was there that he would wait and watch them
I see that
and would then do things when he knew they were looking at him. Like, that's when he would drink the toilet water. They felt like he was doing that deliberately to make them believe he was insane, but none of them thought he was.
I think it's $5.
Okay, I've got a
what I
theory.
haven't said.
Everybody, let's go to Philip Dubé, high-profile lawyer joining us out of LA in the public defender's office. He tries a lot of cases.
I didn't agree to any of
Philip, this is what I think is happening. And you help me figure out
y'all can see the resemblance, right, of what PJ's talking about?
I think they are going to argue, the defense is going to argue
he's got his leg crossed
that, of
on
course,
a branch.
Richard Allen degenerated behind bars and that he was out of his mind from being in solitary when he gave those confessions. I think the state is laying a foundation right now, Philip, to show that he was confessing until he started confessing to his wife. And she said, shut the H up. Stop saying that. And she called his lawyers. Then he meets with his lawyers. And then suddenly, Philip, he starts eating paper, smearing feces, drinking toilet water. He had done nothing of that up until the time he tells his wife, I did it. And she calls in the lawyers. And then he starts acting crazy, Philip Dubé. You see what I'm saying here? He was giving confessions. His wife told the lawyers. And then suddenly, amazingly, he has a psychotic break. Are you with me, Dubé?
Of course. So if I were defending him, this is how I would tackle it. The test for the voluntariness of confessions is not psychosis or insanity. It's whether or not the conditions were so treacherous and so dreadful that you would cop to anything to change your conditions and surroundings. And by copping out to crimes, in his mind, he thought that they would improve the conditions, give him better food, give him a better cell, and not cut him off from the outside world. And that is the whole theory behind involuntary confessions. You'll cop to anything. Yes.
Well, I pulled him up again, please. Yeah, I'll show him to you one more time. And PJ believes that they were posed in these positions because whoever was into this was into tarot cards or what Odinism, right? So maybe there is something to.
Some of the chat is saying it's called Wiccan. I'm not.
Wiccan, Odinism, yeah. I mean, witchcraft.
How can you reconcile the two things that you just said? You said that they're going to argue the conditions in solitary were so horrible that he had a psychotic break. But yet you also said he's angling to get better food, go to a better prison, get more water, get more visits. How can you be crazy and yet you're angling to get better treatment? I mean, that's not crazy. That's crazy like a fox, Dubé.
No. What you're doing is you're trying to let everybody know that your situation is wreaking havoc on the human psyche due to either under or malnourishment. And he's losing his mind, frankly, but not to the point of psychosis or insanity, but to get people to listen to him and feed him properly, give him something to drink, talk to him like a normal person, and take him out of those torturous type conditions so that he can take agency over his life without being non-compos mentis, because I truly believe that the malnourishment and the undernourishment was taking an emotional and a mental toll on him to the point that he would say anything to get the guards' attention.
Philip, what undernourishment? He says, I want more bottled waters. They give it to him. He eats all of his food. What undernourishment are you even talking about? Are you just...
Nancy's never been locked up. Right? Because when that dude went in there, he was a heavier set guy. Time he made it to court, he was skin and bones. Right? He looked shriveled up. He looked hungry.
He did.
Right? So she's like, he's eating all his food. But what Nancy don't understand is they give you these little tiny ass portions of food, and it's not enough to fill you up. Most people you see in jail that are chubby and stuff like that is because they have canteen money. Mm-hmm. They have money on their books, so they're buying potato chips, honey buns, swolls, outside food. If you're just eating what's in the jail that they give you, you would damn near starve to death. Yeah. Because it's very, very little bits of food.
Just spinning this out like Rumpelstiltskin. Well, what are you talking about?
No. Don't you remember the man was wasting away to nothing? He was emaciated. There was nothing left to him.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to look like the bridge guy. They're giving him food. He's changing his appearance. Do you think Ted Bundy wasn't given food? No, he changed his appearance and lost weight so he could escape from a heat vent. No, you come on.
Chicken
I'm talking about the truth. I'm talking about what I just saw in court.
You guys are.
I know, but you're making it sound like they were giving him a smorgasbord every day, and he can eat to his heart's content.
And you're making it sound like they were starving him.
Pretty much.
Okay, you know what? I can see where this is going.
Nancy don't want to talk to him
let me understand. Your theory is he starved himself into a psychotic break. I don't know that that's possible.
I don't think
but
he was
maybe in Philip Dubé world, it is.
It's if you ain't eating
or sleeping, you do go into psychosis,
and you're by yourself locked in a box. Like, remember in that movie, what Castaway, where Tom Hanks started talking to the volleyball, so he wouldn't lose his mind. You like I said before, that we are social animals. That's why everybody's on social media. Everybody's on their TikToks or their Instagrams or their Facebooks or YouTube, because just naturally we are social animals. And if you take that away from us, we will go insane. You will start talking to yourself. You know, they always say it's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. It's when you answer yourself that you're crazy.
Let's go through, regardless of what Dubé is advancing right now.
JLR did go on a hunger strike. I seen somebody ask that in the chat. Allegedly, from what I hear. And they force fed him with a tube down his throat.
A neck tube, yeah.
So he would have to eat, because they kept him in solitary confinement.
He starved to death.
Yeah. But they will, basically torture you into insanity. They don't care. Like, the guards don't give a damn about you. They're so used to people being locked up and just mean and don't pay you no mind. So they just walk past you. So
there was an incident with Richard Allen where I don't know if it was to do with the food, but he wouldn't put his hands back in from being in the slot, and they tased him.
Yeah, the chuck hole. So he's in a prison cell where they open a little door on the cell. It ain't like we're in jail. Like if he was in the pod in jail, they come in, they bring the trays in, and they go, trays, and you get up off your bunk, you walk down there, you leave, the tier, you go down there, get your food, sit at a table, you sit with people, you eat your food, then you go back to your cell. Sounds like he needs medical intervention.
Who?
Richard Allen.
They gave it to him involuntarily.
Involuntarily, yeah.
And then he started getting bulging eyes, and then he started confessing to everything.
Yeah, but if you ain't been found guilty yet, I don't think they should be able to force medications on you.
I don't think they should.
Now, if you were found guilty and sentenced, and you're in there acting crazy, then they could. It seems like
You're a ward of the state, or
yeah,
something
you're a
at that
ward of the
point.
state. They can give you medicines, but when you ain't been found guilty of a crime and you're abusing their medicines and they're forcing it on you, to me that is a form of torture. You know, they're doing shit against your will.
Smiley's World said I couldn't go on a hunger strike. I need my freaking food.
Dolly gotta eat,
yeah,
right?
I wouldn't do well.
And I've been locked up, and I'm a picky eater. But when you get in there, you're so hungry because they feed you very little that you're going to eat whatever the fuck they give you.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes people will trade you food, like, hey, I don't eat this, you eat, and they'll trade you. So, you know, and you can kind of survive like that. But if you just surviving off the jail food, I was in jail completely broke. So that means I was one of the people that only had the jail food.
Yeah.
It's so bad that other inmates will feel sorry for you and feed you. Okay. Because they know how bad it is to go without. So some people will be like, hey, you know, here, Jimmy, here's a bag of chips. Here's some cookies. Because people, just like on, you know, how, you know, when you're at home and somebody comes over, you don't want to eat in front of people. So you always offer them something. So
especially if you're sitting in a corner all pathetic, like hungry.
yeah. Everything's like little tiny TV dinner portions, right? Yeah. Are they TV dinner portions? Yeah, they're tiny. It's little tiny amounts of food. And like I said, people feel so bad for you that they will give you food. Yeah. You know, everybody in jail ain't bad.
Yeah.
Okay. They may have did something
to the whole
bad.
Human nature thing. It's like people aren't naturally mean or ugly to each other,
especially if people like you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you're a likable person and you know you come in and you're nice to everybody and you're talking with everybody and then they're sitting around eating, of course they're going to break you off a little something, you know, and that's kind of how it worked out. Now me, when I first got locked up, I didn't have no money, but I was expecting money, so I kind of hustled my way through it, like, hey, if you hook me up with this, when I get my money, I'll hook you up with this. And then people, you know, work with you. But if your money don't come through, that's when you get beat up in jail, because now you owe everybody that you done made deals with. So, yeah, it's hard to survive with no money in jail, just off the food.
Smiley's World said that PB&J would taste so good, and them noodles, yummy. How do you know what they feed people? I
don't remember any PB&Js in jail. What they do give you is sweat meat. That's what they call it. It's like a bologna, but it's not like real bologna. It's like the chicken ass and gut lips, and it's like a real rubbery piece of bologna, and they'll give you a pack of mustard. Never no peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly you had to get off the canteen. You had to buy it, right? And then when they brought you bread, you would have to take the bread off your tray, and the bread was always stale. Always stale. Never was it fresh bread, because I believe the jail has a deal with, you know how
Dolly always speaks like he did a hard time, but wasn't it only like 2 hours? No,
no. I said
he's not talking about the Georgia.
I've sat in there for months at a time, months. Okay, so if anybody could tell you about the fucking food, I worked in the kitchen too when I was in jail.
I mean, you weren't in the pen, but I mean,
no, I wasn't in prison, but I sat a good. I did 3 months. I did multiple times. So there's
only 6 super chats. Thank you, people. I love you.
People.
Thank you.
So,
it's a time limit too. You're running out of time.
I never went to prison, but I did go spend a little. I think my longest stay in jail was like right over 3 months.
Yeah.
So I sat in there for 3 months. I don't know if any of y'all.
That's a long ass time.
That's a long ass time to be locked up. It is. You know, the seasons change while you're in there. So, not seeing the outside, not seeing real light.
Yeah, did they turn the lights off for y'all?
It depends where I was at in the jail. When I was upstairs, and they turned the lights off, but they kept the dorm light on, right? And then when I made trustee, because I worked in the kitchen, I had a bunk in a dorm where it was all open bunks. So you didn't have like a room with 12 people in it. You were in a room with 100 people.
Dang.
Right. And it was like like you ever see like the barracks in, like, you know, when people go into the army and it's just bunk, 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 bunk. That's how jail is set up, like army barracks. And when I was in trustee, it's set up terrible. So almost got in a fight over the bottom bunk with this guy. Me and him got in a big argument and almost got kicked out of trustee on day number 1 over fighting over the bottom bunk because the top bunk had a light above it. So if you got the top bunk, the light is right in your face. And in there, they never turned the lights off. Right?
That feels like it would be cool.
So you had to take a shirt and tie it around your head, right? And cover your eyes. So that's what I did. I slept with a shirt tied around my head because me and this dude got in a big argument about the bunk. And then I ended up winning and I got the bottom bunk, right? So then they brought an old man into the jail that had a bad back. And if you got a medical card in the jail,
they automatically give it to you.
They automatically give you the bottom bunk. So they brought this old man in and they took my bottom bunk, which put me on a top bunk because I can climb. And then it was a light right in my face, right? And then shortly after that, I ended up moving into a cell with, I think it was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 people in a closet. Okay, the cell was no bigger than a damn good-sized closet, and it had 10 people living in it. But the light turned off in there, so it was a lot better living. So, yeah, jail sucks. It's torturous. And can you imagine that, though, in by yourself in a cell where the light never turns off, there's nobody to talk to, right? You have no interaction with humans. You have no food. The water you're drinking, they said they cut his water off, so he was drinking out the fucking toilet.
They said that it might have been the reason for him to have had water cut off is because he was flooding his cell. But we don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but how long did they turn it off for? You turn water off for somebody for days. In 3 days, your kidneys are shut down.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know, you got to have fluids. I mean, you can go a long time without eating. You can go 6 months without eating. Some people, 6 months. You go 3 days without drinking water, you will die.
Yeah, I know.
So to cut somebody's water off in the
I don't
jail,
think they would be able to do it that long. That's why they had said that if they had done it, it would be due to him flooding out his cell. But then she said they only did it for a certain amount of time, not days.
But when I was on trustee, I did get to go outside a couple times and take the trash out. But I mean, you got a guard right there with you. And I got to walk outside, though. And the guard was real cool. She was like, look, when I was outside, she was take a little bit, get you some air. You know what I'm saying? So I was behind the jail in this parking lot, but it's fenced in. You can't go anywhere. And if you do try to escape at any point, they'll give you 5 years. 5 years for trying to escape. That's what it carries. There was a guard when I was on trustee. He would open up the door to the jail, the back door with the key. He would open the door and be like, anybody want to run? Anybody want to run? You go get 5 years. And he'd be standing there laughing.
That's mean.
Yeah, he would open the door and be like, anybody want to run? Anybody want to run? He goes, you're going to get 5. You're going to get 5. Right. And when you in trustee, you're about to get out.
Right.
Right. So why would anybody run?
Why would anybody?
Right. If you're about to get out of jail, why would you run? But he would do that. Right. He would open
just being mean.
Yeah. And when I had got there, somebody had just escaped.
Wow.
And they had the whole jail on lockdown. So when I went in, everybody was locked down. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't come out into the dorms. And everybody hated the dude that had escaped. Right? Because it made life in the jail so hard.
Yeah, because now they're more strict.
They couldn't have any rec time, anything like that. Everybody was so strict. So when they caught the guy, they were watching the news because people watch the news in jail. They were watching the news, and when he got arrested 2 hours from here. Everybody was cheering. And you know why he said he escaped the jail?
Why?
He said because he had been in there 3 years, and he was on a 17-year prison sentence, and they hadn't sent him to prison in 3 years.
Because prison is better than
because they can get jobs. They got better food.
Oh.
They get more room in prison.
Not if you're Richard Allen in solitary
He
confinement.
wanted to go to not if you're in solitary confinement. He escaped the jail, he said, because they wouldn't send him to prison. That's what he told the news.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when they got him back, they put him in solitary right into jail because I was working at the point that he got back. That's when I went on the trustee, and I take the trays around the jail. They got these big things that they call bullets. And what it is a warmer, and all the trays go in it and then you push these big bullets to each pod of the jail. And then they open the door for you. You push it in, and once you push it in, you leave it, and you go back out to the jail cell. That's what you do as trustee in the jail. So when I was going through, I would push the bullets into where solitary was, and that's where they lock you down 23-1, and he was in there. So he was still in jail, but they sent him to prison shortly after that because he had escaped the jail. So yeah, you can go crazy. When I would go into like if here's the thing, when you were in trustee in the jail, if you wanted to eat, you could volunteer to go work in the kitchen, right? On trustee. So at any time of night, the kitchen in the jail runs 24 hours a day. It runs constantly.
Because they've always got to be making food for the next
breakfast,
meal.
lunch, dinner. So they're always making something. So the kitchen runs 24 hours a day. So, and they work 12s and 12. So you work 12 hours in the kitchen. You go back to the cell, you sleep, you work 12 every day. It don't stop. Monday through Sunday. There's days that I made 1,200 pancakes. You ever made 1,200 pancakes? No. And your whole damn arm will be tired. They work the shit out of you in the kitchen. Ain't no lie. But they shave off time, right? So if you're on trustee, they shave off some of your time that you're serving. So that's why I got on trustee.
I imagine that would make your day go by faster.
It does. It makes your day go by way quicker because you're working, you're talking to people, you're socializing, you're walking around the jail. You're not trapped in one spot.
Yeah.
You know, the trapping you in one spot is what makes it. I went to jail for destruction of property, right? That's what I was in jail for, destruction of private property. And I like to break shit, okay? So I was in jail for that. And, you know, I was actually given a pretty long sentence. I was given 6 months. So I had 6 months to serve. I ended up doing 3 months of that 6, okay? A little under 3 months, like maybe 2 months and 3 weeks. But let me tell you, time goes by slow as shit. So slow. Even working it's slow, right? It does make it go a little faster. But
somebody said, Dolly, what job is a swamper?
A swamper?
I don't know.
I don't know. Different jails are different things. What I did in the jail was I was a baker, okay? So I made cookies. I made the pancakes. I made the Jesus bread. I made the rolls, right? I cooked the hell out of some rolls. So, but they do it in commercial. It's a commercial kitchen. So I don't know if anybody's ever worked in a commercial kitchen, but it's making thousands of things at a time instead of one thing at a time. You know how you cook in your kitchen is just a little tiny bit of food. But when you cook in the jail, you're cooking for 1,000 people. Matter of fact, there was 1,400 people in the jail when I was working in the kitchen. 1,400 people. 1,400 people got to eat 3 times a day. Okay, so you got to be preparing food that's going to feed this amount of people. So it's very little food that they get a time. I know that's a long story to get to that. And then I was the juice man. And the juice man is when you're locked down.
Sounds important.
Yeah, when you're locked down 23-1, you can't come out to get nothing to drink. Right? So they'll come by, a juice man will come by with like tea or some lemonade that ain't got no sugar in it. Ew. It's always just some nasty ass shit to drink, but it's better than water. Right? Milk in the morning, which they didn't use milk, they used protein powder. So it was never real milk, it's protein powder. But you go in there in the kitchen in the morning, you mix it up, right? And then you walk around to all the cells that are on lockdown. So lockdown like 23-1 or Supermax. So when I was a juice man, I dealt with every bad person in the jail. If they were in there for murder, rape, robbery, because they're locked down. They're not like, your DUIs and I didn't pay my child support, or me, I was in there for destruction of property. They don't really lock you down 23-1. You're more free to move around the jail. But as a juice man, it was my job to go give them drinks to all these crazy ass people. And
and you're scared of everything.
Yeah, and some of these people were making death threats to me, thinking, hey, they were calling me like junior deputy because they know you're getting out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're walking around the jail. You're not even dressed like them. where they're in a jail jumper,
Mm-hmm.
you're in like a 2-piece. You have like pants, shoes on, top, and they're
living the good life.
You're living the good life, right? You're eating, you look healthy because you got all the food you want because you're working in the kitchen. You're eating rolls. You know, we were sneaking stuff back to the cells, making tacos and shit. So you're eating good in the kitchen. When I got out of jail, I gained 30 pounds.
Dang.
30 pounds. I gained 30 pounds in jail. But in the beginning, I was starving. By the end of it, I was fat. Okay.
Dang.
And then, you know me, I'm a hustler. So if anybody wanted any like contraband moved into jail, only trustees can do it. Okay. So say you wanted a letter to go from here to a cell down the hall, right?
Mhm.
It could be 5 cells down the hall. For me to move that letter 5 cells down and hand it to the next person, it cost you 1 pack of coffee. Okay. Now a pack of
You
coffee,
don't want coffee.
it don't matter. Coffee is gold in jail.
It's like the currency.
It's currency.
Wow.
1 pack of coffee is equivalent to $1. Okay.
Interesting.
So they would give me a pack of coffee. I would take the letter to whoever they wanted me to take it to on lockdown because everybody's locked in their cells. They can't come out. So then when the person would want to respond, he would have to give me a pack of coffee. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you done made 2 coffees. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can go back and you can trade 2 coffees for a bag of potato chips, honey buns.
Who are you
cookies.
trading it to?
People in the pod.
Oh.
That can move around, right? But everybody orders coffee on their canteen. And I don't know why this is. I hate to give you all these jail stories, but they get up and they'll make the coffee as strong as they can, right? They'll put 5, 6
It's like crack.
I've seen people snort coffee in jail. Snort it.
Oh, boy.
No lie, right? Coffee is like gold in jail, and they run out of coffee quick. So then you have a bunch of coffee and you're able to flip it for whatever you want. Phone calls, potato chips, cookies, honey buns. And I would have it wrapped up in rubber bands, and I'd have stacks of coffee. But that was just for passing.
That was your wad of cash.
Yeah, the craziest thing, right, is I went into a cell and a dude had got beat up real bad. Okay, and here's the thing: if you get beat up in jail, you can't tell.
Why?
Because then they'll get you worse.
Oh, if
right?
You're a snitch.
Yeah, you're a snitch at that point, right? If you tell. So this dude that got beat up real bad, and he had bled all over his clothes. And they were like, yo, we want you to throw these clothes away. Right? So the deputies didn't see the bloody clothes. Right? And I was like, I don't know about that, man. So they gave me a good little bit of coffee to chunk these clothes in the trash because they couldn't throw them away.
Right. So
they had to give them to the trustee because they'll have a trash can, right? But it's outside the bars so they can throw stuff in.
Yeah.
But when the deputy comes in, he can see inside that trash
He's
can.
going to see if you done throwing your clothes away.
He's going to see the clothes, right? So they need that out the pod. They need it gone, so they'll pay you to do certain little things inside the jail.
Yeah.
And the juice man is one of the most well-paid jobs in the jail. Okay. But then you got to stash the coffee and get back to the pod with it because when you go in the pod, they search you.
So where are you putting the coffee?
Oh, this was the slick part, right? This is where it gets slick. I'll tell you how I smuggled the shit, right? So when you go back into the trustee pod, you got these big rubber boots, right? And when you come in, you got to take the boots off so they can search the bottom of your feet. You know how when they search, they rub the bottom of your feet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've never been, so I don't.
But what they wouldn't do is ever search the boots, right? So you would drop the coffee in the boots, take the boots off before you get in there.
Wow.
Walk in with the boots in your hand with all the stuff in the toes of the boots, set the boots down, get on the wall, let them search you, pick the boots back up and go to your cell.
Wow.
So that's how you were able to get the coffee back into the trustee pod.
Wow.
Right? And then right next to you was workforce, and they're smuggling in drugs, cigarettes, stuff like that. So everything that moves through the jail is either moving through workforce or the trustees in the jail.
Wow.
That's just
it's like an intricate system.
It is. There's politics, there's rules, there's currency, there's all that. And if you ain't in the mix of it, You were literally starved to death in there.
Dang.
Right?
I believe it.
You got to get with the program is what they call it.
Percy said, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do, right?
To survive.
And like I said, I gained 30 pounds when I was in there. So true story. For anybody that's been locked up, you will know that. Okay.
Now, Susan Hendricks, I want to go back to what we learned in court today. I want to go to, if I can wade through all of my notes, let me get back to page 7 of my notes. He said he wanted closure, that he wanted to sign his...
No, the coffee is in little individual packs. You know, it's like a self-serve coffee. Mm-hmm. It's not like they pour some coffee in your hand and you're throwing it in your boot. No, they're all
coffee grains.
Yeah, it ain't like that.
Yeah.
It's individual self-serving size, 1 cup of coffee, 1 pack.
Oh, okay.
Right. So they're giving to you in packages. It ain't something they done dug through or, you know, you don't trade nothing open.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if they're trading you chips or something, but you can't take because it's too big to try to.
And crunchy.
To try to get through the jail. You want the smallest, most valuable thing, which is coffee.
That makes sense.
Right. Even if you don't drink the coffee.
Somebody else does.
Like I didn't drink coffee in jail. I used the coffee as my currency to buy honey buns, peanut butter and jelly, cookies. I ate a lot of them Debbie cupcakes, like the cupcake.
That's
things.
why you gained so much weight.
So yeah, it's just a form of currency.
His confession that he wanted to apologize to his family and that he was trying to forgive himself. At this point, he was, quote, not
it's like little packs you get in a hotel room.
A coherent speech and appearance. He did not cry. He stated that he took the girls down to them, that he was interrupted.
I've never seen instant mashed potatoes in jail. Somebody says, and what did they do with the instant mashed potatoes? I've never seen instant mashed potatoes. But different jails have different things. Mm-hmm. Like our jail had beans and rice. It had oodles and noodles. Ew. Right? Oodles and noodles are a lot for trade too. They use that as currency too. The ramen noodles. Ramen. They use that for currency. I hated those. I never really ate those. That's what they make the swoles with. So you got to have those to make swoles. So they're pretty valuable in the jail. But when you're moving things through the jail, you know how big a pack of that's hard to sneak past people, right? Because if somebody pats you down, they're going to find a big ass thing of noodles and noodles, right? So you want the smallest thing to use as currency.
He saw a guy or heard a guy. He stated that he covered their bodies up with twigs and he said branches. He covered their bodies with branches. He said, I didn't do all the things I've said I've done, but I did kill Abby and Libby, but my wife won't believe me. He wanted to know if his family would, quote, keep
what is a swole?
Loving him.
A swole is, okay, this is how you make a swole. I'll give you the swole recipe. I could get shot for this, right? A swole is when they take oodles and noodles, and some people use cheese and whatever they got on the canteen, summer sausage, tuna fish will be up there. And what they do is they'll take potato chip bags and they'll take the noodles, since you don't got like boiling water, they'll let them soak in a bag. Okay. They'll tie the bag up and they'll take Cheez-Its and they'll crush it up and throw it in there with them. And they'll take, and then they'll let it soak until it swells up like it's swole. Right, the bag gets swole because the noodles suck up all the water and they start to get fat. That's why they call it a swole. Then they take that out the bag and they take potato chip bags and they cut them to where it's like a flat piece of plastic. Where are you getting
a cutting utensil from?
From the shaving razors. They take the blades out the razors.
That's dangerous. Okay.
Yeah, I mean they got razor blades, everything in the jail. Yeah, you get your throat cut in jail. People have razors, right? And the way they hide them is they take. You know how you got shampoo bottles? They'll take the label off the shampoo bottle and put the razor on there and then put the label back over it.
Don't they get checked themselves? Don't they get contraband?
They got ways to do everything. I mean, everything you can think of, inmates have figured out a way to do it. right?
Secret swole recipe only on Dolly Vision.
Yeah, here's the swole recipe. So what they'll do is they take that swolled up Cheez-Its and the oodles and noodles.
And it's mushy at this point.
It's mushy, yeah. So what they do is they lay it on something flat, right? And then they start smoothing it out over this plastic. Then they take the plastic and fold it over top of it and rub it flat. So now it's flat like a square pancake, okay? And then once they do that, they let it sit. And then they open it. And then they take like the tuna fish and they put it on top of the noodles. And they'll put like mayonnaise and mustard or whatever they got. You know what I'm saying? If it's sausage, they'll cut up sausage with the razor blades and put the sausage up there.
Ew.
And then what they'll do is they take crackers and they cut it, right? They'll cut the swole up and then they dip crackers in it and eat it like that.
That sounds disgusting.
It is nasty as fuck.
I would have to
right?
be really hungry.
Right? Like I ate some of it when I was in there. I ain't even gonna lie and say I didn't, because you'd be hungry. You'd be hungry, right? In the middle of the night, and somebody got this big ass swole they done made. And usually when they make a swole, there'll be a few people that chip in together to make it. Right? Like I got some.
Buy the ingredients.
Yeah, because somebody may have some tuna, somebody may have the noodles, somebody may have the crackers. So everybody chips in to do it, and basically they'll sit around and play cards, and they'll sit there and eat the swoles, right? And I've seen them make cakes, all kinds of shit. So, but that is how it's basically what a swole is. It's basically oodles and noodles and whatever they throw on it, but they eat it with crackers, and they flatten it out like a big square fucking pancake.
Why though? That doesn't even make sense. They're noodles.
Because they can cut it up into squares, so when they dip the cracker, they just slide the cracker up under the square, pick up the noodles, and eat it.
But the noodles are like, I don't know.
It's nasty. Okay, it's nasty. But if you hungry,
I guess.
Now, what I would do was when I was in there, I didn't really eat the swoles. The way I kept myself full was they had on Canteen, you could buy these beans and rice, and it's the same kind of concept. You put water in it and you just let it sit until it gets soft. It's never hot, right? But then I found a way that you could take the dryer apart and you could put it in the dryer and heat
You're
up.
a sneaky little fucker.
Well, somebody showed me, so they already knew this, right? But a lot of people would put their swole stuff in the the lint trap for a dryer. They'd put it in the lint trap.
Wow.
But the guard would always check it, and if he found your shit in it, he would throw it away.
That would be a sad day.
Yeah, because now he done threw your shit away to make a swole, right? So, but you know how in the back of a dryer it has a little metal pipe that screws on the dryer so it can vent out? Well, we had this little thing this dude had found. It was almost like a flathead, and you could unscrew the back of the dryer and you could put your swole. I put my beans and rice in there and then cut the dryer on. Put some clothes in the dryer, cut it on. Now that hot air is blowing through that pipe.
Heating the heck out of it.
It's heating it.
Wow.
Right? Now they got microwaves in the city jail, but in the time that I was in there, they didn't. So I would heat it in the back of the damn dryer, and then I go back up. I take it back up to the pod, and they sell, believe it or not, they sell tortilla shells on the Canteen. So then I would take a tortilla shell, the beans and rice, and then I would take
that sounds delicious.
Cheetos, right? Because you ain't got cheese. And I crush the Cheetos up and I put them on the shell with the beans and rice, and I roll that bitch up and eat it like a burrito. And I lived off of that in jail. I probably ate a burrito every night. You know what I'm saying? Because the food was so nasty that I stopped eating the trays.
Yeah.
And just survived off of like peanut butter and jelly honey buns. I ate so many. I'd take 2 honey buns and I put peanut butter and jelly between them and crush them together and eat them like a sandwich.
That's terrible.
I know, but when you stuck up in there and ain't got nothing to eat, you'll be surprised how ingenuity. You know what I'm saying? That's a long story to get to, what you eat, but that's how it goes.
In fact, he asked a psychologist to get him a phone. She did get him a phone. He spoke to his wife. When she came back into the room, the psychologist, he wanted to recall the wife. And he went, "No, I want you to stay in here. I want you to hear it."
The trays would have, you would have like During the day, they give you like a sweat meat sandwich for like lunchtime.
That just sounds disgusting.
That's what they call it, sweat meat. Like the meat gets sweaty.
Oh my god!
Right, like it's like wet and shit. That's
Ew.
why they call it sweat meat. It's like a form of bologna that's on this big roll, and they slice it in the kitchen, and it's like it's fucking nasty, right? But if you starving to death, I can tell you now, I've ate plenty of it, right? Because you ain't got no choice.
That's what's
especially
wrong with you.
if you go to court. That's all they give you when you're waiting back in the holding cells before you go to court is sweat meat sandwiches, and they got this other shit in there called meat rock. You don't even want to know what that is, right? That they call it meat rock. It's like a fucking chunk of rock.
Ew.
It's nasty. So most of the trays are like a little bit of salad. It'll be like shit on the shingles, like potatoes with a little bit of gravy, and they would have some like stroganoff maybe sometimes, and they would always give you 2 pieces of cake.
Because that's what fattens you up and makes you
Because
full?
by law, they have to give you 2,000 calories, right? But they don't give you enough food to give you 2,000 calories.
You just get the cake.
You get the cake because the cake is high in calories.
Yep.
So
I'm surprised they didn't give you like corn feed or something like they feed the swine.
They're constantly giving you cake like it's your birthday. Okay? I mean, cake. And that's so they can make up the calories.
That's
so
cheating.
Yeah, but by law, they have to give you 2,000 calories.
Wow.
Right? So they cheat it by giving you no food
and then
cake. So that's what you usually eat in jail. And it's usually that they probably have about every now and then they'd have tacos with some fake meat, some lettuce, no cheese.
Just like a Taco Bell.
Right? And they would call it a boss tray.
What's boss about that?
Boss is any tray that's edible. They call it a boss tray. Like you could eat it. It was eatable. It's a boss tray. Like they have a spaghetti, and that was a boss tray. Spaghetti's a boss tray. The tacos were a boss tray. Anything else is just like some fucking slop that they threw together.
Sounds like it.
And the way everybody communicated was they would write on the trays, and then eventually that tray would make its way around jail to the person that they had wrote to.
So when it
didn't, but most of the time it did. Like you would flip the trays up. Say I got a tray and there's a message to one of my cellmates on there, right? You would, like a damn newspaper, you take the lid off and there's messages on the fucking tray written on the tray, and you pass the message along. Be like, hey man, there's a message for you on this tray lid, and you give them the tray lid. And it was the way that inmates would communicate inside the jail. Dolly turned to make dinner for you, PJ, and no wonder Toy had a damn heart attack. Doctor had to remove honey buns, burritos, noodles, swoles from your arteries. Yeah, probably so.
And he continued to confess. Susan, relay to everyone what we've just heard in court.
Yes, and hearing Dr. Walla on the stand, Nancy, as you said, and saying at one point that he molested his sister, another time, as you mentioned, saying he was interrupted. And that could either be Libby's dad, who was set there to pick her up around 3:30. Was he calling her name? Did that interrupt Richard Allen? But finally admitting to this. And yesterday, he looked very different. We saw the October 2022 video, the first interview.
Somebody said I sent a super chat, but I didn't see the number go up. That's because I think it's set to $5 super chats.
And I think that I saw a super sticker come up that didn't get added.
I don't know. It's
I think
new.
It's just super chats. It's just like the option that you selected, probably.
I think so, and that's a new option on YouTube.
I don't mind. Thank you though for
Thank you guys.
The super sticker.
I was just picking on PJ when I put the chicken dance up there. I wasn't
And
serious.
the time's gonna run out by the time you hit 28. You at least gave it a good, decent, high number that nobody's gonna.
Well, because I was just kidding. I didn't expect you to really do the chicken dance, Turtle Gang. Okay.
I mean, if we did it, I totally would, but we won't, so it's okay.
Well, he seemed like a normal guy. That nothing was wrong. Now he's meek. putting his head down, glaring back at his wife. You're absolutely right. These are key to this case. I believe that he's not insane, that the high security prison did not cause him to become insane. I believe he manipulative and did kill Abby and Libby from his own works.
I mean, every jail is different.
Susan Hendricks, you kind of glossed over.
The jail in Virginia Beach, you get ice cream and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know.
You can get, on Wednesdays, they would have what they call fresh faves, and somebody could order you a pizza, a steak sub, French fries, sweet tea, but they had to order it from the outside the jail.
What?
Yeah. And
like an Uber Eats?
Almost like Uber Eats, but only on Wednesdays. So, yeah, so somebody could order you food from the outside. So I remember one day somebody called me down and I had like a pizza. Somebody ordered me a pizza.
No. Granny
Bassmaster, chicken dance. So, and then I walked back up to my pod and they called me back down and somebody had ordered me a steak sub. So now I had a pizza and a steak sub. I get back upstairs because my pod was upstairs. I hear my name again. I go back down. So now I got 3 sweet teas, a pizza, and 2 Philly subs, right? And everybody's looking at me like, Jimmy, you gonna hook us up? I'm like, hell no, I ain't giving nobody none. Y'all better get away from my food. I sat there and crushed that shit. I ain't even gonna lie.
You ate all of that in front of everybody?
I didn't eat the fries. I gave the fries away.
That was nice.
But I saved one of the Philly subs and I ate the pizza and the sub. And I saved one of the subs for later that night.
That now we see what the problem was.
Yeah, so you can order food like that. I mean, just on Wednesdays though. And that was the only time anybody ever ordered me anything. So the whole time I was locked up, I only got that pizza and them 2. And the person told me that they went to submit it and they thought they were doing it wrong. So they kept submitting it. They really didn't even mean to send me that much food because the food's expensive. It's like $20 for a little ass personal pan pizza. And it's like $20 for that little ass sub. So they spent like $60-$70 and they did it by accident. They only meant to send me one thing, but they couldn't figure out how to do it. So they ended up sending me 3 things.
Yeah. That was lucky for you.
Lucky for me. Yeah, right. Not good for their wallet, but lucky for me.
Over a big bombshell in the courtroom. He said that his words to the effect that his problem, that's what he called it. I was calling it attraction to underage girls. But his problem all started when he molested his sister. That's what he just said in court. Did you hear that?
I heard that and I wrote it down. And he said molesting his sister, that molesting kids his own age when he was younger. And Nancy, I know you remember this when he said he thought Abby and
now
Libby
you can send
older.
the food care pack.
This is after the fact, after he killed them. It dawned on him. Oh, I thought they were older.
They got it can be on a computer and everything.
What is your last memory? She was standing at the door.
But you know, I'm one of those people that learned my lesson. Once I got out, I never went back to jail.
Yeah.
You know, not for long period, not long extents of time. You know, I got in trouble in Georgia, but that was in and out. You know,
I told you.
So I'm one of those people. I learned my lesson. I was like, yo, this life ain't for me. I ain't getting in no more trouble.
Smile that she has. And I said, it could be a little chilly out there. You get a jacket. She just looked at me and smiled and said, I'll be okay. It's okay.
Well, I'm sure that you wouldn't trade green beans.
Dropping her off at their house with her paints. That is the last visual I have of my little girl. It's on that bridge.
I don't never remember them giving me any green beans.
Explaining how Libby's blood ended up on a small tree about 4 feet from the ground, Major Cicero says it's likely a blood transfer as the result of coming in contact with the bloody body of Libby German. Cicero believes at least one of her neck injuries happened near the small tree. Cicero also believes Libby left a bloody handprint shaped like an upside-down L on one of the trees.
Welcome back. We are camped outside the Delphi courthouse and have just come out of the courtroom bringing you the very latest. And I will guarantee you, whether the jury hears it or not from the experts, Richard Allen is not crazy. Richard Allen did not have a psychotic break behind bars.
He just
is
started
playing
eating his
everybody
shit.
like a fiddle. Joining me right now is Jeffrey Gentry, forensic certified bloodstain pattern analyst, senior crime scene analyst and death investigator,
Danny
former
lives 30 minutes
toxicology
away.
lab analyst. It goes on and on. But listen to this. Author of Forensic Science, Applications to Death and Crime Scene Investigations, and many more. Jeffrey Gentry, thank you so much for being with us. Jeff, I want you to hear this. Listen.
Yes, CB.
The crime scene has multiple areas of blood that are almost all from Libby German. And in an area away from where the bodies of Libby and Abby are found is a big pool of blood near a tree. This is the spot where Libby's throat is slit and where she most likely grabs at her neck as a reflex action to try and slow the bleeding. It is in this spot where Libby German slumps against the tree, unable to stop the bleeding, accounting for the vast amount of blood on her hands, before coming to a seated position near where the largest pool of coagulating blood is found.
Jeffrey Gentry, could you explain what we just heard? How you can tell what happened by the blood analysis?
Yes, Nancy. I'm really happy that the prosecution used a blood pattern analyst, because that's what blood pattern analysis is for. It's for explaining unwitnessed events when there's blood at a scene. And if you have blood, it's going to explain events that occurred. And in this case, it was obviously a lot of blood. These poor little girls suffered quite a bit. And in this case, the young lady that was found, that was taken from one location to another, there were blood transfers on a tree. And they were up high enough that would indicate that she was upright at some point during
Jeff
this attack.
Gentry, could you just hold on just one moment? I'm drinking from the fire hydrant here. You're giving me so much information.
Drinking from
Could
the
you
fire
repeat
hydrant.
the starting 2 sentences ago about how
It's
the
flooding
blood
out.
transfer got
It
on
took
the
me a
tree
second.
and what that means to you, in combination with the highly saturated earth, saturated with blood?
Yes. So this young lady sustained.
Oh, what's pinned at the top, guys? What Jack said is our legal fund, right?
Well, Jackie spammed the chat a couple of times asking why you weren't promoting that anymore. That's why I said what I said.
Oh, we are. We still have that fund there. We've just been talking about other things, and sometimes it slips my mind. But, there is the threats of people talking about suing over a case that went on in Tennessee, and they've mentioned me in this RICO lawsuit multiple times. So that fund that we have put together, if you have a buck or two that you can spare, definitely hit that up. That is our legal defense fund. And then, of course, once we get to a certain amount to where we know we can hire a lawyer, then we will go back to talking about the things that we haven't been talking about, because we don't want to end up in a lawsuit with people and not be able to defend ourselves. So that money will sit in that fund. We call it our missile defense system, right? So if anybody fires a shot at us legally, we have the ability to fire back, because we should be able to say what we want to say. But as we know, freedom of speech ain't free, right?
No.
Because people will make up these frivolous lawsuits to drag you into court, and we just want to be able to protect ourselves. So that is our fund we have put together. It's a legal fund, and if we need it, it's there. If we don't need it, it sits there until we do. Okay. So if you can help out, thank you so much. We ain't twisting. You don't have to, but if you got a couple extra bucks and want to help us, you're more than welcome to. All right.
Neck injuries or major wounds that are going to bleed a lot, and they're going to bleed very fast. And almost always, as a reaction to these type of injuries, a victim is going to touch the wound. And so by touching that wound, they're going to transfer blood to their hand or their arms. And in an effort to either fight off their attacker or just to survive themselves, they're going to touch other objects. And so that's exactly what happened in this case. There were blood transfer stains that were high enough up on a tree that would indicate that she was in a standing position. So she's touched this wound. She knows she's injured. And then she's transferring her own blood to this tree, either by her fingers or hand or body parts that are bloody. But then at some point, you're going to start to suffer the effects of blood loss. And so there was evidence that she bled significantly near that tree. So you have blood that's accumulated on the ground. It would normally, like if you had it in a living room or on a tile floor, you would see a giant blood pool. But in this case, it's out in the open. It's on dirt or branches. And so you see that there is evidence of a large volume of blood there that starts to obviously coagulate and dry. So that's how we know that not only was she injured when she was standing, but then she's essentially fighting off or trying to get away from her attacker. She touches the tree while standing. And then as she sustains the effects of blood loss, she then likely collapses in that area, allowing blood to accumulate on the ground near the tree. And
check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? All right, 100.
Again, that's what blood pattern analysis is all about. It's there to explain events that are unwitnessed when there's bleeding that has occurred.
Take a listen to this, Jeff.
The large pool of blood near the base of the small tree is most likely the spot where Libby dies. She's then dragged to the location where her body will be found the next day. Major Pat Cicero says the streaks of blood that run from Libby's right eye to her ear were textbook consistent with dilution, pointing out how they get lighter and lighter and describing it as absent raindrop or water. He says the source of the thinning was a tear. Sniffles are heard through the courtroom, and it's at this point that Carrie Timmons, Liberty German's mother, breaks down.
All along, the victims' parents, grandparents have hoped and prayed that the girls died quickly. When the evidence of the blood mingled with the girls' tears came out in court, the family couldn't take it. It's horrible. To Jeff Gentry, if you could analyze what you are hearing, number one, that based on the blood evidence alone, the detectives know that at least one of the girls was dragged to where she was found. And number two, how do you determine that a tear going down the side of the face was mixed with or diluted with, a tear was diluted with blood?
Okay, I'll tackle those in the order you gave them to me. So the body being transferred from one location to another, just like the blood that was transferred to a tree, you'll see evidence of blood transfer on the ground. When somebody's bleeding, they're going to either continue to bleed, or if they've already died, they're going to have blood on their body. So you can see blood that has been transferred from one location to another. And just the mere fact that these injuries were so severe and that there was a large accumulation of blood near the tree, naturally you would assume that this young lady likely died near the tree, and then since her body was found in another location, that it was transferred from one spot to another. In addition to that, there will be blows or blood that has went from one location to another on the body. And so when the body is found in a position that contradicts those flow patterns, you can also tell that the body has been moved. And that was the case on her body. As far as the tears go, that's an amazing observation by the blood analyst. So I'm very proud that
we dress Lolo up as a chihuahua.
It's hard to see those kind of things, and considering that he was going in after the fact and looking at photographs, it's difficult to see those type of things. But what you're looking at on the body, and when you bleed, the blood is going to dry on the body rather quickly. And if there's a diluting substance, you'll be able to see that. And in this case, it was near her eyes or her face that would indicate that the only fluid source available was tears. And so that'll dilute the blood. A picture, anytime you've ever bled, like if you've cut yourself shaving or you had a little cut on your hand and you bleed in the sink. Well, when you turn on the water, it's going to dilute the blood. And that's what it's going to look like. The question, I believe, that was brought up in court is, was this maybe condensation or environmental factors? And if it was an environmental factor or like condensation or rain, you would see the blood diluted uniformly throughout the entire body or all the blood stains on the body. Whereas in this case, they just saw that near the area of the eye or the face. And that would provide additional evidence that it was tears that diluted the blood as opposed to some other fluid or condensation.
The deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams have impacted the Delphi community and beyond. The crime scene photos and testimony have been hard to see and hear, but when Major Pat Cicero explains how blood that flowed down Libby's face bore the tracks of the teen's tears, it was almost too much to bear as her mother breaks down and weeps in the courtroom.
I would too, because you know she's
Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. If you're on the go, catch us on your favorite podcast app where you
Cord just guides down the hill. We all know that. There's more.
While Libby German has blood on her body and hands, has multiple cuts to her throat, and walked in the blood, Abby Williams is much different. Major Pat Cicero says it is likely that Abby was laying down on her back when her throat was slit. When Abby is found, her hands are balled up like fists to her chest and tucked into the sweatshirt she is wearing that belongs to Libby. It is most likely that Abby died where she was attacked.
We are live here at the courthouse in Delphi and have just come out of the
find it strange she was wearing
We've all been
clothing.
waiting,
she was
waiting for that evidence that could clinch the case for the state or disprove the state's case. Because I've got to tell you, in light of the fact that there is no DNA linking the defendant, Richard Allen, to the crime scene,
she's so
if all the state
snarky.
was relying on was a bullet that was cycled through, not shot down the barrel of a gun, which of course leaves a fingerprint marking that links one bullet to one particular gun. Without that, we had to hear the confessions. And in those confessions, there had to be something that only the killer would know. And that just happened. Because I'm telling you, with no DNA, no eyewitness, and just the bullet found there, some of the jurors could not accept the science behind specific indentations and markings on a bullet that was never fired.
Don't talk
Some
about
jurors
Nancy
may
like that.
reject that. Just like jurors
She's
at one time
overselling
didn't
it,
believe
and it's
DNA or
not.
fingerprints. Yes, it happens.
Oh,
So we were
Lord.
waiting and waiting, and we just heard from the witness stand a psychologist that spent practically every day behind bars with Richard Allen.
Being a
Joining me,
fangirl.
investigative reporter Susan Hendricks, who actually wrote the book, Down the Hill, My Descent into
Nancy
the Double
looks
Murder in Delphi. Susan, I want to refer you.
Good Lord, all these commercials.
To the one of the many confessions he gave. And he states that he had a gun. He states that he pointed the gun. He describes exactly what happens. He admits he was at the bridge at the time the murders occurred, in that time period, wearing the same clothes as the bridge guy. Now, could you explain?
He said he had a
when he
black
tells
or
the
blue
jury
jacket
that
on.
he had a gun, and that he then covered the
Did
girls'
you see the
bodies
indentation
with
of his
branches?
pants? It looks like he's
That
got a pistol in his
information
pocket.
was not out there. That had not been released. Only the killer would have known all that.
Absolutely. And there goes the spin, Nancy. The defense trying to say the odinist theory and that sticks at the site happened to be put in a specific order near Abby's head and that it meant something. Now we learned why he did it. Throwing sticks on, as the prosecution thought, and now we're hearing it from his own words, he followed them on the bridge, ordered
Them
them
sticks
down the
wasn't
hill,
thrown on, they
had
were
the
placed.
gun, and that voice down the hill, we've heard over and over again. We hear it from him finally, and you're absolutely right in terms of circumstantial evidence. We couldn't have just the bullet. Now we have his confessions. And again, there goes the
He also
theory,
told
and the
his
judge
wife
didn't allow it.
if she couldn't
One of
handle it
his
anymore,
many
he'd tell them
confessions.
what they
Now,
wanted him to
after
say.
he states on his own, sua sponte, that he had molested his sister, and that's where he thought his, quote, problems started, somehow almost blaming his sister, he then finds religion behind bars. He demands Bibles, which he gets. He wants more Bibles. He wants to share his Bible. He sleeps with his Bible. And during his religious phase, he confesses. He says he wants to apologize to the victim's family, and he wants closure by signing his confession. What about it, Susan Hendricks?
Giving the family a Bible too. I looked over and I saw eyes.
Hey, Joey.
I'd like to give this Bible to Abby and Libby's families. Look, they don't want it. They want their girls back, and you took their lives away at just age 13 and 14 years old. It's despicable, and I'm glad that the jurors are hearing it.
He actually said he regretted what he did.
See,
And
Miss
the fact
Margaret
that he was
Super
asking
Sticker
for
didn't get added.
closure by signing the confession.
What's the count
Guys,
on?
in addition
11.
to Jeffrey Ginger,
Time's
Cheryl
running out.
McCollum, Philip
Oh,
Dubé,
okay.
Susan Hendricks, joining me right now is a renowned medical examiner. He is the author of American Narcan, and he has devoted his life to helping others, specifically in bringing peace and
It must be
closure
only super
on
chat.
causes
It
of
is
death.
only super chats.
Dr. William Maroney, my longtime colleague and friend. Dr. Maroney, I want to talk to you about some very odd cuts to the girl's necks. And Susan Hendricks, jump in because I believe you heard the testimony as well. The throat slashings, Dr. Maroney, were not completely across the neck in at least one of the victims. There were multiple 4 to 5 vertical cuts
Jackie, it's okay.
on their
No
necks.
big deal.
And the medical
DJ don't want
examiner
a chicken dance.
is going to be tested, the medical examiner's report, as to whether the cuts were done with a box cutter as opposed to, say, a butcher knife. And also, I want your opinion on the blood evidence we're hearing about and those vertical cuts, because you don't normally hear of someone's throat getting slashed with vertical cuts. What does all of this mean to you, Dr. Maroney?
It's interesting to
Miss
say
Margaret.
that there's vertical and there's horizontal, because what you have to ask is which happened first. That's a big part
There
of
it is.
this.
There's the chicken dance.
I want to bring in a prop and show you a neck. This is how we demonstrate this. The neck, when you look at vertical, those were probably done first, because anything going horizontal would have ended life instantly, and the loss of blood pressure would have caused a complete collapse, and the body would have gone down. Now, the reason why the vertical is important, this is a box cutter,
He's
is
the
you
killer.
don't have a big,
Yeah.
long blade. You have to go in
No,
this
you
way
don't.
and down. Now, the vertical
You can go
cuts
like
come
that.
You
first
can go sideways. What
because
are you
somebody's
talking
reaching
about?
out to cut. The final cut would have been if there was somebody against a tree or on the ground, and it would have come this way. The order tells you that the victim did not die instantly, and that's what you get with the transfer of blood. When a victim tries to
Oh,
close a
no.
wound, they're pushing
Joey
left or
said, "Dolly
right
gotta
together.
eat." Thank
But
you, Joey.
it's really hard.
And
If
thank
you
you,
get
Jeannie.
that first cut this way, you lose posture, you lose blood pressure, and it's almost impossible to stop. So the order of the cuts are important. And if we go back to
Isn't that what you're trying to do? Is make the person lose blood pressure and die? So what? This guy, I don't.
If they
understand.
do the analysis right, tears contain lipids, proteins, antibodies, and stress hormones. That in those samples that dry are going to show you that it wasn't rain and it wasn't moisture. So the order, the timing of how the cuts can be determined, that anything that's vertical really makes a lot more sense, as that's how it started.
Maybe
Plus,
he tried to cut him.
if
and just
somebody
went
comes after
in
you with a
more of
box
straight
knife
pattern.
and you lean back, you're losing contact coming this way. And that's how the person didn't die right away, and the victim probably suffered much more, because those verticals, especially if they were trying to defend themselves, were the first cuts. and the horizontal cut was fatal.
Okay.
We are live. And then he says, I wanted to, quote, go back and change what he did. He took comfort in religion. He says over and over, I killed Abby and Libby. My wife won't believe me. I want closure by signing my confession. But what I'm looking for is specific detail, because a confession that is rich in detail or a statement rich in detail is more believable. He explains he
Y'all
wanted
really
to
hate me.
the girls, but then did not. He goes on to describe putting branches over them, says he had a gun. He goes on with information, for instance, that he saw a man, and that cut into what he wanted to do.
Y'all
The
want to see
psychologist
PJ
said
dance?
he appeared relieved after he gave
The train
the
is filling
confession.
up. The PJ card is almost
She also
full.
said that she
I need to
believed
take a
he was
shower.
feigning in
Don't
order
If
to
I'm not here, did it
manipulate
even
people.
happen?
The odd behavior, such as drinking toilet
Don't
water,
let the people down.
his behavior with his own feces, none of that happened till he confessed to his wife, and she called the lawyer, and the lawyer met with him. So what are the other details that he revealed in his confessions to the psychologist, Susan Hendricks?
Yeah, and today was it, Nancy. We heard it together, telling that step by step of what he did. He admits to following the girls on the bridge, having a gun, ordering them down the hill, being interrupted, as you said. That could either be the owner of the private property down the hill, who has a white van and there's a roadway, hear the white van, or was it Libby's father, who was supposed to pick them up? Derek had says that
Is that his hair or a hat?
Is that what interrupted that?
I think it's a hat, but it kind of looks like hair.
It looks like hair.
Right,
Yeah.
his wife hanging up, calling the attorneys, and that is where the defense is going to go, saying he was in a maximum security prison, he shouldn't have been there, wasn't convicted, and that
Hey, good
place
night, Jackie
drove
O.
him to this psychosis. But again, confessing over and over, saying he wanted to start.
You look so different there.
He never complained
Yeah, he
about
does.
his treatment to the psychologist, even when, remember, they kept asking in court, what did he list as his complaints? He never complained about his treatment. And isn't it true, Susan Hendricks, that in his confession to the psychologist, he said he had a gun? Nobody knew that for the longest time. Remember, we were speculating about the COD, cause of death. No one knew there was a gun except the killer.
But the
And
gun
here
wasn't
he is
used, Nancy.
telling all
Miss
to the
Margaret.
psychologist.
See, she didn't super chat.
Absolutely.
She put a
And
super
law
sticker.
enforcement was criticized
Miss Margaret.
for years
Thank you, Miss
for not
Margaret.
telling us or giving us more information. And
You had to type something
No,
for
you
it to
don't.
count.
that they
We
said
love
there was a gun.
stickers.
He
They're my
admits to the
favorite.
gun. Now we have a
That's
pair.
me. It
They
don't
were
count the
words
stickers.
that we wanted to hear from the killer. I believe he is the killer. I believe he is what everyone needed to hear, wanted to hear. And you know, it's so windy.
Oh my God, they're like in the middle of a tornado.
But we were inside and everyone was listening very closely to what this doctor had to say. Why? Because she was speaking for Richard Allen.
I mean, that psychiatrist also got fired.
Right. So, and they still let her testify. She got fired because she was a daggone groupie. She was feeding freaking information to YouTubers.
So we got about, 20 minutes left. So let's go ahead and open up the phone lines.
Good idea.
We want to hear from you beautiful people.
Miss Margaret.
For the chicken dance. She got it right that time.
Thank you.
Did it go up on the count?
Yeah.
Oh, it counted it that time. What's count at? 17? 17. Okay. I already got the chicken
people
dance
hate
music
me.
pulled up. I already got the music pulled up too. Do you know the chicken dance?
It's literally like the cheesiest.
Miss Long, see, she didn't leave a comment, so it don't count.
I love you people.
Dolly, PJ.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey.
PJ.
Hey.
Hey. Thank you,
Sorry,
Adacor.
Adacor.
Who?
I was thinking Adacor. She left a super chat.
I'm eating a dark chocolate covered macaroon. Sorry if I'm
PJ just chicken out. I won't.
Okay, well, we won't hold that against you. Did you want to tap in on this case, Rose?
Absolutely. Why do you think I called? Just to joke around or something?
Possibly.
Most likely.
Yeah. I am going to keep it jovial. First of all, though, serious. How come this case was not televised? I don't get it. Is it
Apparently
political?
they don't televise cases in Indiana at all. That was my first question.
Yeah, right on it with you. Now, Aunt Nancy?
Jax, I swear I will never talk to you again.
Can I give a little roast on Aunt Nancy? TJ, you know how I look at makeup and I just have this habit. I'm an artist. Can someone please wipe the lipstick out of the extreme corners of her lips, please?
It builds up there like that when you get going.
Okay, well, and the last few times I watched Nancy in the last 3 days, someone's doing a horrible job on her eye makeup. It's just not working.
Do you hear how windy it is?
Miss Long,
Yeah,
you have to leave a comment with your super sticker for it to count.
Stop.
Am I talking or what's going on?
You're talking.
I was roasting Nancy. I'm going to fire her makeup artist.
Okay.
Anyway, but to Nancy's grace, if she's in the courtroom, and you know this from personal experience, you guys,
Hello, they're going to make me do this.
she is seeing things and watching bodies and eyes, and she is right in there.
She don't know how to leave a comment. Okay.
Hello?
We're listening to you complain about Nancy's makeup.
I just got... Hey, I just moved past that, and I said, on Nancy's plus side, she is inside the courtroom of this case.
Yeah. Yeah, she got in.
And so you know this from your own experience. When you're in that courtroom and you see things and you smell things, she's getting a whole different taste.
Yeah.
She was in there for 15 minutes.
Okay. Anyway, my thoughts. The other thing is, I have not followed this case faithfully because quite frankly, it scares me.
Okay.
There's something about those two little girls, and I keep, it's almost like their spirit and mine. I can feel the fear they felt in those last moments because yes, I'm still here. I'm not a ghost, but I understand that fear. And I think along with this program, we need to really emphasize you young girls who are, flirting around with the idea of a cute boy and growing into hormones and things. Is anyone listening?
We're listening. I'm sorry.
Excuse me. But please, young girls, a cute guy on internet and you go out and sneak to meet this. I'm not victim blaming. I'm trying to build awareness through your platform. Please, we need to, if we get anything out of this case, justice will never be done to those little girls. They're gone and the family is grieving. But we've got to help prevent that for other little girls who are sneaking around on Snapchat or whatever it's called, and a cute boy, the catfishing and all that. We've got to spread that out of this case.
Yeah.
And I think it's weird that Indiana doesn't televise publicly because we're supposed to be, tried in a court of public, right? So I think it would have been a lot more interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, Rose, we're out of time. It was good talking to you.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Later.
All right. So, PJ, we hit the 20, right? So before we wrap up tonight, PJ has to do the chicken dance. Okay. She had no clue that she was going to be doing this tonight. Do you need to know how to do the chicken dance?
It's literally freaking, you flap your arms like a chicken. I've been to the skating rink all my life. They literally
like this,
do that.
and
Yes. Like this, and like this, and like this, and then that's all it is.
Okay.
And then you do a turn.
All right,
What do you want to do? A freaking example?
I just got the music.
You've got the stupid cheesy ass look on your face. I really don't like you today at all. Like, I'm literally gonna go sleep in my car.
All right, here they are doing the chicken dance. I just want to make
That's
sure.
not how you do it. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there's a little wiggle in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, that seems pretty easy. It's 3 moves. All right. PJ wants to kill me. She wants to kill me. All right, phone lines are open. Did PJ agree to this call?
No.
If not, she shouldn't. Christy Ford.
No, he should do the chicken dance. He's the one that put that up there. Teach him how to Dougie.
Teach me how to Dougie.
I don't dance.
I
unless I'm
dance all the
wasted,
time,
period.
right? I dance all the time for free. I don't even charge y'all super chats. But I figure it was something just to mess with PJ a little bit. We love you, PJ. Thank you. Okay.
I don't love you back.
PJ's mad. She's mad. All right. I'm probably getting stabbed tonight. I'm going to lose my life on Halloween. Like
I don't even like you that much. Don't tell him that.
All right. So hit up the phone lines if you want to call in, touch in on this case tonight. If not, PJ's going to do the chicken dance in the next 10 minutes. And we're going to get the hell out of here for the night. So it's been fun. Right? Good conversations. We did a lot of jail talk. We talked a lot about Delphi and is this man crazy or not? I don't really know if he's crazy, right? He's crazy as shit, right? Anybody that eats their poo-poo and drinks their pee, you got a little bit of
It
craziness.
didn't say he drank pee. It said he drank toilet water. It's clean water.
I mean, where do you think you pee?
Well, you gotta flush it. They don't have flush.
Yeah. Dolly, PJ.
I'm not here right now.
Hey, it's Jack Fool.
I
Hey,
don't
Jack.
like you. I'm not talking to you.
How about this? You do the chicken dance, and then I'll do it on video, and I'll put it on the Dolly Facebook.
That doesn't
and
even.
then
What is that gonna do? Nothing.
Other people, other viewers that
They
are
don't
in
care
your
about
life-
what you look like doing it. They care about what I look like.
They're going to do it with you, PJ.
No,
It's gonna
they're
be
not.
Okay, well,
800 people chicken
dumplings. Dumplings in the chat. How about we get dumplings to do it too? He's about to hate me too.
No. Why would I want Dumpling to do it? We would look silly together then. Like what?
Okay, well, how about Dolly do it with you then?
No, I don't like him right now.
She don't like you right now.
And poor Rose, if she's listening, it's only because
Sorry,
we
Rose.
hit the 20 while you're on the phone.
Well, tomorrow
Yeah,
night
but-
it'll have to be something I have to do. Since
I
tonight,
won't be here tomorrow night. I won't show my face ever again. I'm not kidding. I don't dance unless I'm drunk. Even a chicken dance.
Well, give her a few drinks.
You want to hit my
You'll be
gay
all
rig?
right.
No.
If I can't. Listen, PJ, you don't have to do it.
I'll
but
do
if you
it.
do-
I'm not gonna be a bad sport. I'll do it. I'm just gonna go sleep in the car afterward.
All right, and then if anybody's interested, I'll put up a video, and then a bunch of you can put up videos so we support PJ to do the
Okay.
chicken dance.
I'm not gonna watch them.
All right, Jack, you be good.
All right, bye.
All right, peace. All right, PJ, let me get your music ready. Let me cue your music.
Just at least put that video with them doing it. So I just freaking will stand right here and do it with them. And I don't want to look at myself because I will never watch this. I will never admit to doing this.
After it's over, I will edit it out the video.
No, that's stupid.
Okay.
It really ain't that serious. But I mean, I don't like you today at all. I really don't.
All right. So let's bring up the chicken dance. All right, hold on.
I know. I told you to put it up there. And they can't even see me right here if I did it.
You got to kind of squat a little bit.
I'm not squatting to do it. I don't know.
Okay, ready? Do y'all want to see the chicken dance song?
It's literally this, and that's it. I like it now that I can't see my face in it. That's good.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
That was terribly
hard. That's what I'm going to do. Bye. I gotta take a shower.
All right, babe. All right, so PJ was a really good sport. She did the chicken dance. I'm probably literally going to die tonight because of this, okay? So if y'all don't see me tomorrow doing an open panel, y'all know what happened, okay? Thank you, Turtle Gang, for PJ. She earned it tonight. She earned it. You guys are too much. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. It's getting late. So I will see you guys tomorrow. We're doing an open panel on true crime. So anything you guys want to discuss, make sure you come up on panel. You'll be able to join me live up here like we did today. If you don't know what an open panel is, go back and watch the video before this one. Okay. Because today we had an open panel where Mab and a bunch of other people came up. Okay. Mia. I think I said her name right. I kept messing her name up today too. I am horrible with names. But thank you for everybody that came by tonight. And here's my question for you guys to leave in the comment box afterwards. Did they do enough, the state, because they rested today in the Richard Allen case, did they do enough to convict him? This is kind of a yes or no question. If you think they did, let me know in the comment box down below. If you think they didn't, let me know in the comment box down below. And I can't wait to find out, right? I cannot wait to find out if they're going to convict this man or not. Now, I think if they let him go, this man has a massive lawsuit against the state of Indiana, okay? And they're doing everything in their power to make sure that don't happen. So you guys have been great. Make sure you like the video if you haven't. And just remember, if nobody loves you, Dolly does, even though PJ hates me tonight. Okay, she hates me. But I'll see you guys in the morning. Peace.